bid up for it. Auctions are not guaranteed money makers. A lot of people put their designs up for auction and they think, wow, this is gonna get to $500, they're gonna get the auto buy, whatever, and then they're really disappointed when it doesn't. And it happens. It happens to me, it happens to my friend, it happens to the people I buy my bases from. It just happens. It doesn't mean the design was bad. Sometimes it just happens. Some people just don't have the money to bid, so maybe you posted on the wrong day. It's best to post on like weekends-ish, early-ish in the day after work, so people can see it. But just be aware of that. Like, if sometimes they don't sell, it's okay. It happens. Don't be discouraged, all right? Because it happens to the best of us. It happens to everybody. Fursuit makers too. Everything. Sometimes they just don't sell, or sometimes they just sell for a low price. Last sale prices should be reasonably low. I mentioned that earlier. A lot of people aren't ready to just drop like $100 on a design. Some people might be, but usually you're going to want to price it lower. If you want it to sell fast, you don't want to be holding on to the same flat price adoptable for like 2 months, which I've done. You're probably going to want to price it a little bit low. I think I wrote something else there. Auctions should start at the lowest price you're willing to take. Be prepared for someone to bid once and get that money for it. There's more on auctions later. I'm trying not to like skip myself. But be prepared for someone to sell it for the lowest you're willing to take, all right? So that's what they should start at. If you want to start at a little higher, you can, but you're lowering your chances of someone wanting to bid on it, all right? Let's see what's next. If you chose auction, be prepared for only one bid. Like I was just saying, it happens. Sometimes you have this, it happens, I don't remember what design it was. I had this awesome design, and I was like, oh wow, it's gonna sell so great. I got like one bid. It was like an hour before the auction ended, and I was like, well, that was a dud. That sucks, but it happens. And there's nothing you can really do about it. And I also said later on this here, I'm not a fan of reserves. I know a lot of people do that. I don't personally like that. I think that's kind of unfair. If you wanted a certain price for it, then you should have started at that. That's just my opinion on it. I know a lot of people do that. It's okay if you do. That's just my opinion. I'm not a fan. I feel like that's unfair. Like someone bids on it, and it's like, oh no, that's not enough. It's like, why didn't you start it higher then? What was the point of making it so low? So there's my 2 cents on that. Consider setting an auto buy. An auto buy, like Gast was an auto buy, $300. It's if someone wants to buy the character right off the bat and doesn't want to bid and like win the auction, they can just buy it. It's higher. That should be low enough for someone to consider doing it, and high enough for it to be worth it for you. So if it could potentially go higher than the auto buy, you might want to consider raising the auto buy a little bit. So I didn't think anyone was going to want to buy $300 for Gast, okay? I thought that was kind of crazy. I had no idea that was going to happen. So I figured he was just going to go up. His bidding, I think, actually went up to 210 before I answered the note about them wanting to auto buy.
Hey, doesn't that make people worry that they could miss out on a character they want?
Yeah, but that's kind of the point of an auction.
Yeah.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
Like FOMO.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah. But it's a good way to get money for yourself, and for whoever wants it bad enough, if they want it bad enough, it goes to a good home and they use it, they'll hit that auto buy. And also, if they're bidding and it hits the auto buy, you have to cut it off there. I mean, have to, but have to cut it off there. Because that's the auto buy. Let's see those. Provide a starting bid, a minimum bid, and an auto buy if you want to. Starting bid is what it starts at. First bid that you get is going to be for the starting bid, abbreviated to SB, and then minimum bid is how the increments go. Because some people will bid 25 cents. I've seen it happen. It's really annoying. So set a minimum bid. I usually do like, I think $2, $3, $5 kind of thing. That's up to you pretty much. The higher it is, the less chance people are going to bid. But yeah, I think I have a hard time getting people to bid with a $5 minimum bid. I think $3 is pretty good. That's what I do. That's pretty much a personal choice for you guys, though. On Fur Affinity auctions, always give people a comment to reply to for the bidding, and tell them to keep bids in the same thread. I've had so many auctions, and I still do, because Fur Affinity is not really an auction site, but if you monitor them enough, they work pretty well. In your comments, write a comment with big bold letters and say, bid here. and then in parentheses say, if starting bid is already placed, comma, reply to last bidder's comment. Do not continue replying to this comment. Ever since I started adding that last parentheses bit to it, people have been replying the same thread, because what you don't want to happen is them just keep replying to your comment, and then the first bidder, and it's like they don't see the new bids coming. When they reply to the other person's comment, they get a notification that so-and-so replied to your comment. And then you'll have more of a chance of people getting a counter bid. So that's why Fur Affinity is a little bit, not the best for auctions, but I use it. I've had great luck with it. So yeah, but just make sure that you do that if you do Fur Affinity auctions. Be very, very clear when auctions end. This is important. Make sure that you put up at the top of the post, auction ends. I'm just going to make up a date. Friday, August 28th at 11 o'clock p.m. EST. Time zones are important. People live all over the globe, everywhere. You don't know where the design's going. If you say 4 o'clock, they're going to say, oh, 4 o'clock in Australia is like, 6:30 a.m. in America. So yeah, make sure that you have the time zone on there, your time zone. Be very clear as to when the buyer needs to contact you and pay by. This is also very, very, very important. You need to make sure, I usually put this at the bottom of the post. I'll say, winner has, I usually do 24 hours, up to you how long you give them. I give them 24 hours, I'm impatient. To reply, I always send them a note. I usually babysit the post to make sure that I do it right away. I send them a note and say, oh, please send payment to blah, 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 blah on PayPal within the next 24 hours, and let me know when you've sent it, and whatever. Make sure that they know, tell them a couple times, that they need to pay by whatever time, whatever day, within 24 hours, or they forfeit their win. And then if they don't answer, then you can just restart the auction or sell it for flat buy, whatever you do, that's pretty much up to you. You can also give it to the second highest bidder if you want to. So that's very important that you put that. I'm not a fan of reserves, so I did that. I'm also not a fan of anti-snagging methods, and then it says don't hate me. I don't like it. I don't know. I'm not really sure why. I just feel like that's kind of the point of an auction. Like if you wanted it, you would sit and watch it and bid at the last minute. That's just my opinion on it. I know a lot of people do that. That's just kind of my 2 cents on it. I don't do anti-snapping. I know they say like on some auctions they'll be like, oh, the auction ends 1 hour after the last bid or whatever, something like that. But I'm not a fan of anti-snapping methods, because then I just feel like it's going to drone up. Some people will feel discouraged, basically. They won't want to bid because they just feel like, oh, they're just going to counter bid me again. So I just feel like you'll have a higher chance of people continuing the bidding if you don't have that cushion at the end. So that's just my opinion. Auctions usually go about a week and usually have some dead days. If you post an auction and it goes for like 3 days without bids, that's okay. That's normal. Mine usually have like at least 2 days, at least 2 or 3 days in the middle of the auction when there's no action on it at all. Stand up now. So don't get discouraged if there's no comments on it or anything. People aren't going to bid that much. So just be aware of that. You can also do short auctions. Sometimes for like 48 hours are good. I don't remember how long gas was. It wasn't that long. Maybe it was 24 hours. I don't remember. It was 24 hours. Yeah, I remember now. But yeah, so just be aware of that. It's okay if no one's constantly booming on it. It's all right. That was a long one. If you chose flat sale, this is a short one. Do not overprice. I've mentioned this earlier. If someone sees a design, usually flat sales, I think most flat sales I see are one view, just the front view. Just don't overprice it, because a lot of people are going to have a hard time just slapping down $50 for a front view of a character. So just keep in mind that your prices should be pretty low. How much would you pay for the design? If you were scrolling on your Fur Affinity or anything like that, and you saw that character, how much would you pay for it? How much would you be willing to pay for it right off the bat? So just keep that in mind. Charge for the design. Typo? No, that's dirt on my screen. Right. Charge for the design, the character rights, and the work that you put into it. They're not just buying the character. They're paying for, the character. They're paying for the rights to use the character and the work and the art that you put into it. So kind of think about how much time you use and kind of include that in your price. Almost done. Advertising platforms. I use Facebook because I like Facebook because, for one, you can kind of randomly add people. I know people don't really like that, but you can randomly add people if you want to bring your post reach up. And also you can join groups, and the people in those groups, they don't have a choice whether or not they see your post. If they're in that group and you're in that group, they're gonna see your post. So they don't actually have to be watching you or following you to see it. And every time someone comments on it or likes it, or you can even go back and comment on it and just write bump or something, it'll pop it back up to the top of that group. So that's why I like it. There's just a better reach there is what I found. Twitter, you can advertise on Twitter. I haven't really had that. I don't use Twitter that often. I'm just really focused on Facebook, honestly. But you can use Twitter. I've seen people use Twitter. Furry Amino. Be careful using Furry Amino. There's a lot of kids on there, and they'll just kind of be like, I like that character. It's mine now. So watermark everything. I wrote that on here later. Watermark everything, especially if you're putting it on Furry Amino. But there is a lot of post reach there too. For Affinity, that really only works if you have a following. It really helps. Same with DeviantArt. You can post on Instagram. I like to post whips on Instagram. Links don't work. They don't work. So if you're posting a link to an auction, they can't copy it. It don't work. It might be a little bit of a waste of time. But you can post just advertisements and whatever on there. And at the end I wrote, it helps to have a following on any of these platforms. So the more people are following you, the more people are watching you, obviously it's going to help you out more if you have more people to see it. Writing your ad. Start at the top. Usually what I do, I wish I had an example, but I'll write the character's name if you gave it a name. Sometimes you don't, but hyena adopt for sale. And then if it's an auction, you'd put auction ends at time, day, time zone. And then you're either starting bid, your bidding information, or just the price. And then you would have your meat of your information. If you write a story for it, then sometimes a little bit of a backstory will help, especially with auctions. But if you do that, that'll be like the meat of your ad. Point out anything that potential buyers might miss in the image. I usually include like a written description of the design, just so they kind of, maybe they missed like, oh, the horns do this, or maybe their brightness on their screen was down and they missed that it had, flecks of darker blue or whatever, something like that. Include a little bit of a description in it. It helps. Some people, the picture might not load for some people, so it helps. Include a short backstory / personality, optional, good for auctions, I mentioned that. Don't drone on. Keep to one paragraph or two small ones. I told a friend of mine that it helps to write like a little bio for the character, and she wrote that as write a novel. So she wrote like 3 paragraphs about this character, starting from when it was like a baby to like later, and it was really bad. And she just kind of was way too detailed. It was very specific. If you're too specific, then you're targeting like one person who's probably not on your advertising platform. So you want to have it kind of open, kind of appeal to more people, but also you want people to read it and go, I have a connection with that. I like that character. So just keep that in mind. Keep it to like a paragraph, a good chunk of information, likes this likes this, has this personality. There you go. End with a summary of your terms of service, or add a link to your terms of service. Usually I just summarize it. I just say, you got to pay right away. I take PayPal. You'll get the unwatermarked design of the character rights after you pay, etc., etc. It's just good to have it on the post, because some people, they don't really get how buying things works. Always specify, yeah?
Is there something specific you have to do to transfer the character rights?
No. Once they give you the money, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Unless it's like copywritten, which I don't know anything about copyright, honestly. I've never had to do that.
Yeah, nobody in the furry fans really goes through all that.
Always specify if you accept trades or holds. No one reads these, but always specify if you accept trades or holds. There's always going to be that one person in the comment who goes, do you accept art? I can do art. You take art? No. So make sure you write that somewhere in there that you don't, or if you do, etc. Always specify, or holds. I always make people, I don't do holds, honestly, because I'm just kind of done with them. I've had too many people put things on hold and not buy them. If someone absolutely wants to have a hold, they can give me a payment, and it's non-refundable. If they back out, they don't get that money back. But if they want to hold it, I'll give them exact time, time zone, and day that they have to have the payment for me, okay? If you're going to do that, I highly, highly recommend that. It's really kind of important, because people will hold it for 2 weeks, and they'll be like, oh, I'll pay you when I get home from work. And then they don't. And they say, oh, I gotta, get something from the bank. I'll do it tomorrow. And then they don't. And it'll just keep going, and then that character goes unsold after they give up on you finally. Try to sound happy and excited in your ad. If you're very cold and unfeeling, then it feels very impersonal. So try to be excited, like, oh, I designed this character, and like it's inspired by this, and I love this, so I decided to do this. And just be excited. Make it sound like it's inviting. Because if you just sound like, here's this character, has this, give me this money by this time, blah, 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 blah. It sounds boring and like kind of lame, so be a little more upbeat. Don't use too many emojis. You can use it to soften things a little bit, but don't type like a 12-year-old. Don't do like all of the emojis all the time. I might throw in like a heart or like a smiley face at the end of something. And be careful about where you put them, because if you soften a statement that's kind of important, like you have to pay you 24 hours, smiley face or heart, it kind of softens it. So just be careful about where you put them. Just kind of be aware of that.
And don't put a colon 3 after every sentence.
Yeah, don't do the cat face all the time. Other important stuff. Be very clear about your payment methods. And I mentioned this a couple times, so it's really important. Trades, holds, payments, deadlines, etc. And like I said, always include the time and the day. That's very, very important. I forgot to mention this earlier, I used to end my auctions at midnight. And people would get confused as to which midnight, because there's 2 midnights at the end of each day. And I used to start putting like, in parentheses, the midnight before Sunday and Saturday. And then I realized that I just sounded like a moron when I was doing that. So I just started doing them at 11 o'clock at night. Made things way easier. People know what 11 p.m. Sunday is. So it just makes things a little easier. So don't end things at midnight, because it makes people confused. Just be very specific and be very clear and concise. Just say you have to have this payment for me by 11 p.m. on Thursday, or I'm putting it back up for auction, and you're going to have to bid on it in auction, or something like that, right? Post reminders, this is important too. Post reminders for auctions about a day before the auction ends. If the auction is long, you can post 2 reminders. I feel so bad because I've had to unfollow so many fantastic artists because they won't stop posting reminders. Don't be that person and post reminders every 7 seconds. It's really annoying, right? Especially on Fur Affinity. I hate it when every time I open Fur Affinity, 1 submission, and it's the same freaking person with the same YCH auction every time. So just post it. I personally only try to post it like a day before it ends. If it's a really long auction, I'll just post another reminder. And I'll post on like all of my media, so not just like only on Facebook, but once on all of your platforms. Just so you don't annoy the crap out of people, okay? It's just annoying. Just don't do that. And just that reminders are important because it will get buried, especially on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. So it helps. Also, on Facebook, I should add, if you're sharing stuff on Facebook, I did it the hard way for so long, and I was so happy I finally stopped. I have an art page actually now, and I'll make a post on my art page, and then it's on one post, and I share that post to all of the 25 groups that I share to, instead of posting individual posts on all the 25 groups, because that's really annoying and really hard to keep track of. I recommend doing that. Post it on your page or something and make it public, and then you can share it to all the groups. That way you're not writing or copy-pasting it onto 30 groups, because that'll get really old really fast. So, just some advice there. Post flat sale reminders like once a week. Post them like once a week. If they don't sell after like a month, you should probably change something. If you've had them for about a month, there's a good chance that pretty much everyone's probably seen it if you've posted it a few times. So you might want to consider changing something up if you've had the same flat sale design for a little while. Do not keep spamming reminders. That sucks. It is annoying. It also makes it seem like you're having trouble selling it. Yes. If you constantly spam reminders, people think that you're having a hard time selling it, and they wonder what's wrong with it, and they wonder why no one has bought it, and they wonder why they should buy it. So if you're constantly posting, please buy, please buy, please buy, I still have this, people are wondering why no one wants it, all right? So that's another thing to add to the spamming. Do you have a question, or you just, okay. Be prepared for questions. I don't get very many questions because I'm really thorough in my ads, but some people might ask, oh, will you take $3 less, or something like that. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Or can I change the species, or something like that. Okay, so just be prepared for questions. Check your inbox regularly. Look for comments on the post, etc. Be prepared for people to not read anything that you wrote in your ad. I had so many people, you'd be amazed how many people don't know what an auction is. You'd be amazed. They'll see the starting bid and they're like, oh, it's $15, right? And they're like, well, the starting bid, yeah. And it's like, but it says 15, it's the starting bid, but it says $15. It's the starting bid. And they don't understand what that means. They don't really make that connection. I've had to explain to people in detail what an auction is. Like, you bid on it and then someone else bids. I had to explain in detail to an adult what an auction was. So be prepared. It's the internet. There are people on the internet who don't read things, all right? So just be prepared to act professional in a situation like that. Be professional. There's our next point. Obviously not all of us are running like a business and we're just doing this for fun because it's a hobby, which is perfectly fine. But being professional will especially help you if you plan on doing this down the road, like as a continued thing, if you want to keep making the adoptables. Make sure you write with correct grammar and spelling. I know we all like that. Present yourself the right way. Make sure that your artwork looks professional. And just generally be professional. Just act professional, reply to your messages the right way, and stuff like that. Just be prepared to do that. Watermark everything. Never share an unwatermarked design unless the buyer has paid completely. I don't even have the unwatermarked files. I delete them after they're sold. So the only person who should have the unwatermarked file is your buyer after they pay you. No one else should have that. If the buyer wants to sell it around, that's their problem, but not you. So I delete them after like a week or so, just in case the buyer needs the unwatermarked file. Usually it's saved in your recycle bin if you ever need it again, but no one should have the unwatermarked file except for your buyer, right? And that keeps theft at bay, because if you're sharing around the unwatermarked file, or if you use the unwatermarked file for your ad, there's nothing stopping anybody from just clicking save and using that character, right? You can also do like an auction or adopt me watermark over it if you want to do that. That way people know that it was for sale and it might not have been paid for. And then finally, let the buyers do what they want with the character. I see a lot of adoptables where people are like, you know, you can't change this, or, you know, don't resell it, or whatever like that. They paid you for it, it's theirs, let them do what they want with it. Like, that is not your problem anymore. I know you like the character, but it's theirs now. It's out of your hands. It's not really fair to be dictating what someone else is doing with what's now their property. So, I personally think it's a little unfair to do that to people. So, that's my 2 cents on that. It didn't sell, now what? And I didn't censor that, darn it. Don't whine. Don't go on Facebook. No one wants my adoptables. What am I doing wrong? What should I change? It looks bad. It makes you look like a bad artist. Makes you look whiny. Just don't do it. It's unprofessional and it makes you look like a little kid. Just don't do it. Think about if you should repost or share at the same price or at a lower price. I very rarely will lower my prices unless I've had it for a really, really long time. And I've had some that I've had to just flat out give away. I've made clunkers so bad that I just had to give them away. So just be prepared for that you might have to repost it. And it happens all the time. You can repost, I usually knock off like $5 depending on the price. My flat sale, I don't think I've ever had, well yeah, I have had auctions on sale. Usually if an auction doesn't sell, I'll post it at a flat price, and just like a little bit of a higher flat price. But yeah, so just consider that if you should sell it for at the same price or a lower price. If the auction was like really short and you don't think anyone saw it, you can probably just relist the auction and have it go longer, and it'll be fine. Consider a redesign. I've done this a couple times. If you've had the same one for a really long time, there's probably just something about it people don't like. It's probably just not something people are interested in. You can always go back and change it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. My eyelashes are stuck together now. It's going to be annoying. But yeah, I've gone back and added horns to things, changed the patterns, changed the colors. What you can do, actually, that I've done, and it's been very successful, is just put a layer, like an overlay layer, of a different color on top of the exact same design. Just put a layer over it, changes the hues by a little bit, and then it sells. It's the exact same thing, it's just a little bit redder, or a little bit bluer, or something like that. And it's the exact same design, takes 2 seconds, overlay, boom, done. And you probably can sell it. So you can give that a shot. Auctions can be restarted. There's no shame in restarting an auction. It happens all the time. I've done it. Best artists have done it. I see fursuit stuff that get restarted all the time. It's no big deal. Do not repost. Don't repost it and say, no one wanted it, so he's back up for sale. Then people are going to be wondering why no one wanted it. Why is it still for sale? We don't know. Why should they want it? They don't know. So don't say anything negative. Just say, oh, this guy's back up for sale. Or, oh, reminder, this guy's for sale. Something like that. Just don't say no one wanted it or he didn't sell or whatever. Just don't put negative things like that. It happens. And everyone has designs that don't sell. I can't tell you how many designs I had to give away for free because no one wanted them. I've got a volcano-themed Dutch Angel Dragon. No one wants him. He's just kind of sitting there. He's like $10 now. No one wants him. I worked on him for a good bit, and he's just a clunker. It happens, and he just doesn't appeal to people. So sometimes it happens. You just try again. You just move on. Let's see what's next. All right, these are some designs. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. These are trash trolls. They're pretty awesome. They were made as a joke by a girl named Mikamu, and I have one. I think I took his badge off, but they're really fun to make. This is a free-to-use base. You can find it on the Facebook group. It's like called the Dump Trash Trolls, something like that. But you can sell them for $10. She has a price limit on it, but they're so fun to make because they're really stupid. This guy, I love writing stories for these guys. All these guys come with like, they're way underpriced for what they get. But like this is Clank. He's one of my favorite ones. I got 2 of them on here. Lives in the city, is angry, probably robs homeless people. Loud, do not tell them about magnets. Fought a pigeon once. Lost a fight to a pigeon once. Hates pigeons. Okay? It's fun, right? So for $10, you can take Clank home. And he's got a home now and everything's great. And he's got like his little backstory. Copper bin, burned antenna in a welding accident. He's got his goggles. His arm shorts out more often. Built this arm to be able to collect more metal. He's got a metal eye. He likes metal things. That's kind of his thing. But yeah, he's got a gap for hair.
That explains why he doesn't like magnets. They stick and we just can't get them out.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he was fun to make. This is mostly just kind of going over some designs I've made, just pointing stuff out. But he was fun to make. I mean, I kind of went all out with him. Normally I just kind of throw some things on there, but he's a really, really heavy edit. This is Pollux. This up until I made gas, this was the most expensive one I sold. I don't remember exactly how much I sold them for, but it was over $200. And I was in FWA when I posted them. And I was in bed, and my roommate was over, and I was just like, he's at $100. It was like 3 a.m. He's like, $175. I just kind of kept saying it, and it was just bidding up, and I was like, this is awesome. But yeah, I mean, he's like a dark purple. He's got this glowy, magic-y stuff. Name's Pollux. I named some of them. You don't have to name them. I kind of like naming them. Sometimes I come up with a name while I'm making them. It's up to you if you want to name them. He didn't really have a storyline, but people just liked his horns. Because his horns, it's like this deal. And then he's got the fire, and the projector's not the best, but he's got a real cool color palette. He's got lots of colors. People loved him, and my thing was like crystal Dutch Angel Dragons, so he's got fire opal on him. And just, I'm not very good with face markings either. That's another thing I'm trying to work on. But he's got some face markings. But yeah, he's pretty cool. He's one of the better ones I've made. And he's on a base by Clown Grin, that's a base. A lot of these are bases. This is a base by Chesta. They have amazing bases if you want to write down the name. Chesta, Chesta on Fur Affinity. I can spell it again if I need to. Amazing bases. Pretty much anything that you put on there is going to look bomb, okay? They have a lot of sales. I recently just bought like pretty much all of their bases because they were on sale for like $8. And yeah, they have awesome bases. This is the Dragon Links. I sell these for like $25. I really like doing natural designs, especially with mannequins and just kind of pretty much anything. I just think they look good. But this one's like a buckskin one. You can't really see, but she's got like some dapples on her and the stripes on the arms and legs. I really like the asymmetrical? I'm not good with words. But yeah, like white and the black, the contrasting kind of thing. And she's got the pink nose and the blue eyes. I love blue eyes. But yeah, so that's another one. I sell that one for like $25. It's a flat price. These are pan cans. Who's heard of pan cans? A couple people? They're kind of new. People like pan cans. They sell pretty well. I just like this guy. No one bought him for the longest time. It took me forever to sell him. But he's like a dark, dusty blue. He's actually more blue than gray. But he's got like a dark brown tail. This is a cream color. It's got the blind eye look. I've never actually done a blind eye on anything other than Dutch Angel Dragon. Some ear tufts, and this is a base by Mishru-san. It's her watermark there. I like this color palette. I don't remember if I came up with it or if it was something I picked. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's got that kind of awkward hand. Just mix it up. Try something different. Have like one foot this. It's got a wraparound spot. You know, you can do anything. I mean, anything. Just come up with something different. I like painted horses designs, so I do a lot of that kind of thing. There's an albino dragon lynx. She's got like a ball python type of deal. Another base by Chester. I made this guy myself, and he probably just looks like a black blob to you guys because I made him too dark because I have a bad habit of doing that. He is too dark, I'm sorry. But it's got like a teardrop there. Very simple design. I don't remember how much it sold for. 60 on that? Really dark. I did a Halloween in July theme last month. So he's got his little bio over here. But yeah, Crowley. He's a raven, but his name's Crowley. So bad. I should have done this so bad. Another thing about making them too dark, going back to Crowley, save it, post it on Facebook or something just for yourself, and look at it on your phone with your brightness down. If you can't see it, it's too dark. Just use a lighter gray. And if you have one like this that's too dark, just put an overlay or a screen or something that's white, and it'll just bring everything up a couple shades. So it's an easy way to cheat instead of recoloring the entire thing. This is Zoe. I love Zoe. Zoe's my favorite. Normally it takes me a really long time to draw new species, but I whipped her up like that, and she's like my favorite thing ever. And she's got like this mousy kind of natural brown. I think she's fursuit friendly, a little bit, sort of, kind of. But she's kind of the same as the moleskin leather source. She's kind of got the dark brown deal, and these are custom lines. And make sure that your anatomy looks right, please. Everyone likes that. It's annoying when it's not really right. But reference real animals. Don't reference, if you're doing like anatomy-wise, reference a real animal, because someone else's base might be wrong. So especially bunnies and stuff, and hyenas. I know hyenas are a big thing for people. Just make sure that it's right. But she was adorable. I forgot how much she sold for. I can't remember how much she sold for. She sold for a good bit. I forgot how much she sold for, but she sold for a good bit. Let's see who's up. What's next? And then here's Alistair. Oh, go back. Here's Alistair. His auction ends tonight. He actually doesn't have any bids right now. So I might end up having to repost him. I actually made him last month for the Halloween in July thing, but he looked a little more magical-y than Halloween. But he's a Fennec Sprite. I pulled that out of my butt. I don't know what that is. But he's got like a little magic-y hat thing. You can't really see, but he's got some piercings here. I don't really know how to describe those ears. A few tails, and he's just kind of got a woodlandsy hat. I just like I said, went about the seat of my pants on him. I think my problem with the auction was this.